Hey guys, so in this segment we're back at with a Hohner shark fin. If you remember me just talking about the original plastic bushings and how everything was misaligned, here's where you can see that. So we're going to take these plastic bushings out. Here are the new bushings that came in. Now we have to bore these holes, open them up. These bushings are about 10.16 millimeters. So now we're going to open up the hole to 10 millimeters. So it's a 10 millimeter bit, which means that we'll probably be around 10.05, 10.1. So we'll have a little bit of pressure, just enough to hold the bushing in. And then once we put these bushings in and we're finishing the guitar out, we'll put a couple little dabs of super glue on each one. Just a couple of little dabs just to help hold them in. But here are the bushings, and you can see these are much better looking than the original plastic bushings. We're going to press these in and then reapply the tuners, or reinsert the tuners. And that's a lot better fit, no more slop. We still have some work to do to the tuners when we're finished, but if you pay close attention, you can see the holes that are misaligned. They really show up now that you have support. We're going to plug those, and then we're going to re-drill them. Yeah, we're going to fix this. So I'm going to mark the holes that have to be plugged, and then we have to make the dowel. Ordered some dowel rod, but we need a dowel rod for these holes. I'm going to go ahead and push these bushings back out. We'll get these out of the way. So now we got to drill those holes and plug them. But to do that, we're going to need some dowel rod. So this bit is a 2.5 millimeter, which is going to be the right size for the plug. Actually, it's a 3 millimeter, I think. So I cut off a piece of dowel rod, and now we're going to quarter it. And then once we quarter it, we're going to make a dowel shaper. And how we're going to do this is we're going to drill a series of holes in
this
that
is maple
plate that I made for a fixture. So we're going to center punch it. I'm going to drill a starter hole. So once we drill this starter hole, we're going to open these up, and we're going to need a 2.5 millimeter, or it may have been a 2 millimeter dowel. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill a series of holes, and each one's going to be a ½ millimeter smaller in diameter. And as you can see, we got the first hole. takes a little while. And I cut some of this out so you won't have to watch the entire process. But if you've never made one of these before or haven't thought of it, it's a pretty neat little idea. And it makes it to where you can just take whatever scraps you have and make dowel rods out of them. And what we're doing here is we're going 2.5 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 3.5 millimeter. I did finish this up later and I go all the way up to 6 millimeter. So now we're going to have the third hole. And you'll see how this works in a moment. We're going to make the dowel rods. Almost there. And now you can probably see what we're going to do. So we're going to start out with a quartered piece of dowel rod, and we're going to cut a little bit of a point, just enough to get it started into the hole, into the biggest hole, and then we're going to tap the piece of wood, and this is hard maple, through that first hole, which is going to partially shape it. And we're going to make 4 of these. Because we also have to plug a hole for the tree, for the relocation of the tree, due to adding the logo onto the front of the head. And then we go to the next size down hole, and it shapes it a little bit more. We just keep tapping them through. And you can already see they're starting to round out. Same as before. Pull the little dowel rods out from under the vise, and then now we're going through the finishing hole. So if you need to know where to go to get a 2.5 millimeter dowel rod, well, you make it. Very simple, and you can keep your jig and use it as many times as you need to. And there you go. 2.5 millimeter hard maple dowel rods. Okay, so now back to the instrument. Now we need to drill these holes. And first we have to put a depth stop. We're going to use that screw for measurement and wrap that bit in some tape to make a depth stop. And then when we chuck it up in the drill, we're going to have the tape against the chuck, and then that way even it couldn't move. And now we're going to bore those holes. So now we have good clean wood, and we're going to have a good snug fit to glue up our dowel rods. So now let's get ready to glue. Put a little glue, let it run into the hole and on top of the hole so that we could run, coat the dowel rod. So now we coat the dowel rod. Let's press it in. It's a good snug fit, but it'll slide in a little bit with your fingers. And you know it's a good fit because you use the same drill bit to make the shaper that you use to drill the hole to insert the dowel. And we'll be able to reuse what's left over. So now we're going to clean that glue off and let that dry. So I let it dry for like an hour and a half, I think, maybe 2 hours, while I was doing other jobs. And I know my chisel needs to be sharpened. It got damaged in a drawer. We're kind of in limbo right now, awaiting the construction of a shop. So we'll just very easily cut these off with the chisel, and then we'll sand it flat.
Okay.
And there you have 3 filled holes with maple. Now we're gonna reinsert the bushings and reinsert the tuner so that we can align the holes. And in a moment you'll see exactly how far off it was. This is a really good tight fit. I'll put some grease on these when we do the final assembly, and you can look in there and you can see how far off those holes were. And if you didn't watch the first video, please do. Here's the 0.08 inch screw, and then 0.068 inch well, that was the drill bit. So 68 thousandths. I'll put a couple of screws in because we don't want this moving around, and we need to mark the holes. So we're just going to mark those. I know that looks like it's angled. It's not. That's the angle of the camera. We'll pull these back out. Get the tuners out of the way. And now we'll finish drilling the holes. See how far those were off. We'll go ahead and put these screws in. This will be coming back out. First off, I'm gonna clean this head up real good, repair a couple other things, polish it, get it ready to put the decal and all that stuff. So all this hardware I'll have to come back off, and then after I finish clear coating it, we'll put it back in during final assembly. But for now, I'm going to put it in and leave it. At least until we get ready to install the frets. But you'll be able to see the alignment correction here in a moment. And there we have the new bushings. Look much better than the old stuff. And the tuners are more solid. They're not going to detune, especially once I tighten everything up. Mechanically, I'll tighten these up. There it is. Like, subscribe, and share, and ring the notification bell. Thanks for watching.